guys, how are you doing today? Welcome to MarkTalk. I am your host, Mark Levy, and I'm unbelievably excited and happy to be here today for you. This is gonna be a fun one. I'm really excited about this. When you get a good game host on with a good game, this is what's gonna happen. You get good tough, right? Like that's what it's all about, right? I want to give a little update about me. For those that know that I got my second dose of the Moderna vaccine on Monday. It went really well. I felt good until about 10 p.m. on Monday night, and then I started feeling a little bit off. But yesterday was a big old headache. But that is okay because I'd rather not feel good for a day than get COVID and cause people pain and anything like that. What I'm trying to say is get the vaccine if you can. It's important. We got this. We're in this all together. We're all humans, and we all want to be alive together, right? Even, that's the way that is. What you're here for, though, is a continuation of my series where we talk about mini game hosts. This one I'm really excited about. This one I've been trying to get for a while. This host is a person I have a lot of respect for, even before I even really met him, because I watched him live in a couple of LRGs. This game has a fun history. We're going to be talking right now with Joshua Felix, the host of Amnesty, the series. How are you?
I'm doing very well. How are you, Mark?
I'm doing great. I also got to mention in the intro, this is a very genuine thing about my opinions about you as a host. You're actually one of my absolute favorite game show hosts because, you have so much fun hosting and so visible to watch you have fun. And I think that's one of my favorite things when I see a good host.
Yeah, I really love hosting Amnesty. I've hosted for a few years now. I've been hosting since I was 15 when I was in 2015. But this is one of the games I get to have the most fun with because it is so rocky. So I get to see fun things, and I really love doing it.
That's the best. That's why we host, right? To have fun, to make fun moments. And what I also love about Amnesty is that's on the shorter side of games, while packing a lot of amazing content.
Yeah, I really like its short length. I wasn't sure about it the first time; it ran a bit short, but then I started thinking oh wait, it's a good game to play because it means you can play another game of the day. We've got a whole day ahead, and plus it means it's a good viewing experience because 3 hours is a decent amount of time to sit at your computer and watch something. So that good balance between a playing experience and viewing experience is something I really love about doing it.
Yeah, and people are very excited to see you here. I know we're gonna bring this up later because
I've got Sarah's watching. Hi.
Yeah, we love. Oh yeah, I forgot we both played a game with Sarah. Duh, of course. That was our first game we ever played together. That big sequester game. But that doesn't matter. So let's talk about Amnesty. Let's talk about the premise of what is Amnesty for those that don't know what Amnesty is.
So I'll go back to when I first created it because I think that makes it a bit easier to create context.
Of course,
so, back in the old mini world I used to host in, that's the place that I came from, Rob came from, I know Josh Calhoun hosted a bit there as well. It was a very different community. It was a much smaller community. So he was playing with the same people day after day after day, it was a bit more normal over there, but I wanted something to try and spice things up. So I remember that I used to be a big fan of the game The Resistance. And I was thinking, I want to turn that into a mini-series. And then that kind of developed to become what Amnesty became. So Amnesty's run in 2 iterations. In this current iteration, it's designed to be a 3-hour game in which is going to test your mental and social strategy skills in unique ways. So throughout the games, you play challenges. These challenges are mental or social strategic challenges. So we try and avoid trying to type fast or games of luck as much as possible. We things that are going to test how you think. And then those that win are safe, and then those that fail go into the intelligence chamber, which is the really, really fun bit of Amnesty. And interesting fact, we're going to be doing an intelligence chamber later, which Mark is going to be doing.
I'm so excited about this.
The intelligence chamber, you'll see a bit more about it shortly, but it's a trivia game with a big twist. It's not just about knowing the questions, it's about knowing the people you're there with. Because although you're working as a team, there's someone amongst them that has been given all the correct answers, but their job is to get the group to give incorrect answers. So as players are discussing these questions together, there's someone amongst them that is actively trying to get them to answer wrong, because if the group gets the questions correct, that player is immediately eliminated from the game. So they've got to turn on the others to try and save themselves, which I love watching the chamber play out. I love it so much. It's so brilliant.
And it's so fun because I feel like that new show, The Hustler, copied to a certain extent what Amnesty does.
And I think the biggest difference between Amnesty and The Hustler is the incentive. So in The Hustler, the objective is to stay hidden if you're the hustler, whereas in Amnesty, it doesn't matter if you're caught. It's more so you have to make sure you're successful in getting to get the questions wrong. Because the hustler doesn't actively have to do anything. Whereas in Amnesty, if you're the saboteur, if someone's about to give a correct answer, you have to get them to change their mind, or else you're out of the game. So
Right.
there's some similar elements. That's like the biggest difference.
Yeah, and like that's what I love. Like I love like seeing how like in my personal opinion, like how the mini game world is becoming like a lot like more like game shows are becoming like that. Like the Hustler has been so enjoyable as a person that watched a lot of like Sequester this past year and stuff like that. Like the whole like Final Four type stuff and all that fun. Like how do you get yourself from point A to point B, and point B is winning the fucking game. And like that's what one of my things I absolutely like love whenever it's a chance to watch Amnesty. I've watched like at least like 30 minutes of a few seasons. Like I watched an hour of the Black Girl Magic season, most recent season, which I fucking loved. I mean, like hell yeah, amazing casting, everything was great. It was fun to watch it. Like I watch everyone play hard, and like I just love it because Amnesty feels different than all the other games because it is more about let's have fun together. It's an afternoon for most people, and it's quick. You're a great host, and it's a fun game.
Yeah, I in its design, I want it to kind of be like, I want these players to face the same pressures you're going to face in a regular mini. I want to feel that same level of stress, but I want it to come from a different place. So when you're playing a normal game, you're stressed about the fact that other people are going to vote you out, whereas in this game, you're just more so stressed that they're going to beat you. It's not that they're actively targeting you, so it doesn't come with that same kind of ill will towards the other players. You just know that you're all trying to advance yourself in the game. People aren't really playing for others in the same way you win in other games. You're only playing for yourself because realistically, you can survive the next round no matter who's there. It's not about, you don't need to have the correct numbers or correct alliance members. You just need to get yourself out of that situation. And then each and every round is a new thing. And it means that it creates a vibe that can be quite friendly, and you can all play and really go at each other in a way that doesn't feel like it's an attack in any way, shape, or form, which means you can have really competitive gameplay. Some people would refer to it as aggressive. I don't like that word, but I know some people would refer to it as that. It means that you can play in all those different kinds of ways, which I really love.
Yeah. Should I bring out the people we have backstage? Because I'm so excited.
Yes!
Like, these are two people that I love. One of them has been on MarkTalk before several times. Everyone has not been on before, and I just love them both so much. I'm really excited about this. I'll bring out Tracy. How are you?
I'm fabulous.
I'm so happy to have you here for the first time. And Brian Farello.
Hey, how's it going?
Oh my God. I'm so excited. Like, I know they both have played Amnesty at least once. And I'm, yeah. I don't know how to talk sometimes.
Okay. It's all right. No pressure.
These two people, these are both two people. These are both two-time players. They both got the same placement on their original seasons, as in like both times they played, they placed the same. So Brian, I know, has played. You placed third on both of your seasons. You made it right at the end. Final Saboteur could not pull out the win, and Tracy has placed seventh on both the first seasons. I love them both. They're both two-time players. Tracy has also been a hijacker on one season, so Tracy came back to write an intelligence chamber. So I know she's got a bit of an idea how that works behind the scenes now. So it's going to be interesting to watch how this plays out.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And I assume these questions that you're providing us, nobody has any idea what they are. I feel, judging from our conversation this morning, like for me this morning and you this afternoon, I imagine that you wrote these questions today.
Yes. So I'll tell you a bit about, so the three of you are about to face intelligence chamber. So just like any chamber in Amnesty, it comes with a category. Before I'll give you the category, I'll explain the rules. It's a tiny bit different to how we normally do it, but it's mostly the same. So how it works is I will post the question in the private chat. I'll read it aloud. Once that starts, I'm going to give you guys, we're going to bring it down to 60 seconds today, just because of the situation we're in. So you'll have 60 seconds to discuss each question. At the end of the time, you'll have to stop discussing and then get a sign ready, and then hold up what you believe to be the correct answer. The majority rules, it takes two people to lock an answer in. Locking a correct answer, that's a point for the innocents. Locking an incorrect answer, that's a point for the saboteur. Get two correct answers and the saboteur will be eliminated. Get two incorrect and the two innocents will face a number cruncher to decide who will be eliminated. Any questions?
Let's do this.
Okay. In the event of a 1-1-1 tie, that is a point for the saboteur, and I'll not tell you what the correct answer was. Prior to the broadcast, I informed all of you if you was an innocent or a saboteur, so the saboteur knows who they are and they have their saboteur information already. And category is, it's an iconic category in Amnesty. It's the category we do every single season recently. Since season 6 has always been the last round before the finale, unless it was a power play theme. Category is world records. These are all questions about Guinness World Records, and I absolutely chose this because they are the easiest to write, and I decided to spend I will give you time updates at 30 seconds, 15 seconds, 10, and then 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. So you may start discussing from the moment the question appears in the chat. Agents, are you ready?
Yeah.
Ready.
Let's do it.
Should I change my name to Agent Mark?
Whatever you wish. Whatever you wish.
I mean, I want to feel like I'm playing the game. I mean,
You can change it to Saboteur, Mark.
I'm
Okay.
not Saboteur, so, you know.
Okay.
Make it more
Question
realistic.
1. How heavy was the world's heaviest carrot? A, 6.17 kilograms, B, 8.17 kilograms, or C, 10.17 kilograms? Start the clock.
Not the metric system.
So I've been in Europe for over 15 years and I still don't know the metric system.
I mean, I know carrots can get big.
All right, I have to think
How
about
big
this.
do you think they could get?
I mean, I don't know the metric system. Because
All right, listen, I'm 52 kilos. I'm 52 kilos. I'm 128 pounds.
Gotta write down the math. 52.
So 10.17 kilos would be like
A
Like-
fifth of that.
30 seconds.
So that'd be like 20 something pounds. That's huge.
I mean, it sound. I don't know. It feels like A, which is 6.17, is too light to me.
15
That
seconds.
seems too light to me too.
Oh no.
10
We both
seconds.
agree, and I
You
don't
don't know
like
what
that.
this is?
Oh shoot.
5, 4,
A. I'm gonna say A because we both said not
2,
A.
1. Conversation halts. Conversation halts. Please all get your signs at the ready. Don't hold them up yet. Just have them ready.
I'm so scared right now.
3, 2, 1. Reveal. You've gone with B. The correct answer was in fact C. That's a point for the saboteur. One more point for the saboteur, and they will win the chamber.
Smarty saboteur.
Okay.
Question 2 of 3. How fast was the fastest 20-meter duck walk carrying 120 kilograms? A, 12.33 seconds, B, 18.33 seconds, or C, 24.33 seconds? Start the clock.
Wait, what is it? What is a duck walk? Is that like where you're like walking like the duck?
I would assume so.
Or
Yes.
wait, are we talking like an actual duck carrying 120 kilograms?
120 kilos. No,
That's
it
a
can't be
fucking
real
strong
duck.
duck.
It's 100. That's heavy.
Yeah, that's very heavy. That's why I would say A, but
200. That's like 200 pounds.
But it's just a duck.
20
or-
meters isn't that far.
It's like 60 feet. Yeah.
it could be like the guy from Iceland that's like the world's heaviest weightlifter doing the duck walk, but I don't know. It seems very heavy.
I think they could do it that quick.
I mean, we could just split
What
the
are you?
difference
What are you
in
guys
weight.
both thinking? I am. With,
I don't know who's the saboteur.
Me neither.
I don't know
Not
the
me.
saboteur is. I'm thinking it's Tracy, but
5, 4,
Are you going
3,
B?
I'm gonna go
2,
B.
Hey.
1. Pause.
Hey?
B.
Pause.
Keep going.
Whole conversation. Get your signs at the ready. Sorry, I forgot to give you updates. 3, 2, 1. Reveal. You've gone with A. A is the correct answer.
Yes.
Okay, we move on to question 3 of 3.
Thanks for betting.
How many hearts made up the largest display of origami hearts? A, 5,370, B, 53,704, or C, 537,041. Start the clock.
All right, I'm starting to get really suspicious of Brian right now.
Oh, absolutely, Mark. You and I.
Me, I didn't hear what you were. I didn't hear because Mark, you said B at the end.
Yeah,
you
but
said
Mark
B at
just
the
gave the
end.
right answer, and so did I. So I think we should.
I
Just
know he went with that at the
out.
end, but he was panicking. He was panicking.
Yeah, because
in
I
that
don't know what
moment.
the
I
fuck
didn't know what
I'm
to do
doing,
either.
guys. I've never played this game before, so I don't know what I'm doing.
Okay.
And I'm not smart. I'm just really cute.
Is that going to get you the win?
53,704.
30 seconds.
So, oh my god, that's so many. I feel like a lot of people do. Like a lot of people are crazy about origami.
I would do C because I I think of Hiroshima, they have that display of all the origami stuff.
15 seconds.
So what? They would have had to get a large group of people, right?
Exactly.
To do it?
Yeah,
But
I could see it being
Brian, what do you
BSC.
think?
9, 8,
I'm trying to
5,
figure out.
4,
I'm going
3,
C.
2, 1. Halt conversation. Please get your signs at the ready. 3, 2, 1, reveal.
Oh
You've
man.
the correct answer was in fact B. Saboteur, you've won. Saboteur, reveal yourself.
Yeah.
Do it! Fucking suspicious Brian.
I've never lost a Saboteur except in a final chamber.
Okay, so if this was a real game of Amnesty, Mark and Tracy would now do a number crunch to decide who gets eliminated. So, audience, hope that gives you a bit of an idea how the change is played. Now, a couple of changes in Amnesty. A, you have 90 seconds to discuss instead of 60, so it's a lot longer time to have some conversations. And plus, there's a bit more pressure involved. So you didn't see it here, but there is also a clock that plays in the background as agents are discussing, which makes things so much more stressful. So if you thought
It's so fun, yeah.
Go and play an actual game of Amnesty, and you are going to see just how stressful the game can get. But this gives you an idea just to see that and when it comes to Chamber, it's not just about what you know, it's about your discussions, and it's about trying to see what other people are saying and trying to get hints from them. So, for example, Brian came across as a bit suspicious after the second question. So, by listening to what he's saying, that could then try and give you some idea as to what the actual correct answer is in the third question. Yeah, Brian and Tracy, thank you so much for coming here to help demo how
Of course.
If people want to follow Brian and Tracy, TP Zing on Twitter and Brian Chase 13. Thank you guys so much for being here. Seriously, it means a lot to me.
That was
Of
fun.
course.
Thank you so much to both of you. I really appreciate that.
Bye.
See ya. That was intense.
I love Brian and Tracy. I love having both of them. There's a reason why I was happy to have both of them come play Amnesty again. Brian's amazing because he makes the end twice, and Tracy's been helping me out as well, so that's been great.
Yeah. Like, what's so fun about that category though is like, if you know it, you definitely know it, but it's also world record, so who knows that, you know?
Yeah, it's kind of like you have to then think about, well, what makes sense? So, for example, like with the duck walk question, thinking, well, how fast could someone realistically do that? Or with your Origami Hearts, thinking, how many of these things would realistically be in one place? So it's not just about what you know, as you say, it's about trying to use reasoning to try and work out the correct answer. That's one thing I really love about it.
Yeah. So let's talk about how did the game change from the very beginning when you said it was definitely different from how it is today?
So when Amnesty was first created in 2017, so there was 4 seasons that were played on Skype, and the Skype version had a couple of key differences. So the biggest difference was the ability to DM other players. So back how we used to play minis, breakout rooms were never a thing until like this recent version of minis. You always used to DM players instead. So you was all on one big call and you sent DMs to people, which for some formats I prefer. I prefer it in like Big Brother formats. I prefer to message people, but I love breakout rooms for more survivor style games. But back to the point. So you could DM other players, which meant the game is very different because it became a lot more alliance heavy because you had the ability to make alliances, and it kind of ended up breaking the chamber in certain ways. And that's kind of why I didn't want to host it anymore, because it meant it gave players that ability to do that. But then when Rob, we all know Rob, host of Castaway, encouraged me to bring Amnesty back, I was thinking of ways to make it work, and then the fact that it was all out in one room made it work. It meant I had to make some changes, like, for example, I had to change some of the challenges, because what you can do when you have private conversations is different to what you do when you can't. But, yes, the DMing people is the different thing. The fact that the casts are now smaller and the game is shorter. It used to be 10-person cast. It's now 8 or 9 all the time.
Which I love that too. Also, like, I think that's really great. Like because there was one season I was actually able to be caster, but I couldn't do it because it was I got cast in a different game at the same time, and I was like, damn it. But like, I love the fact that it's like so focused on a nice small cast.
Yeah, so Champions League is a bit of an exception because I've invited 11 winners back, and all of them have said yes. But typically, it's always going to be 8 or 9 people.
Right. So like, let's talk about the Champions League one. I'm really excited about that game. It's this weekend, which is going to be very exciting. And there's 11 winners. Like, let's talk about like is it going to be the same type of game as it usually is, or?
So so for Champions League, so I've got 14 winners. There's 11 I've invited back because there are some, quite frankly, I didn't want back for numerous reasons. But there was 11 people I was thinking, like, these are people that I like and I think are good people. So of those 11, 9 of them are from this era of Amnesty. So with the exception of the winner of season 2, all of the winners have been invited back. So we've got Fred from season 1, we've got Charles who won season 3, Sindri who won 4, Jill won 5, Greg won 6, Davey won 7, doing something top of my head, and Joel won 8, Angelica won 9, and Abby won 10. So all of them have been invited back. And then additionally, so from the OG run of Amnesty, the winners of the first and last of the OG seasons have also been invited back. So Rob has been invited back because he won the first ever season of Amnesty. and then a guy, Will, who's not from this world, also, but is in like the Orc Circle, and is still in the Orc Circle. He's also been invited back. So all 11 of them are invited back to compete. It's going to be a similar season. Obviously, we're going to have to make some changes because, hey, the game of Amnesty is 5 rounds long, and we've got additional people. We're going to have to find some ways to cull some people. We've got some things planned.
I'm so excited. Like, and also like, as a big fan of Rob myself, and like I've only seen him play games, I think 3 times, not even, because he mostly just hosts Castaway. Like, I'm so excited to actually see him play this type of game. And like, I love Rob so much. So this like makes me so happy. Like the whole cast you have for your winners is just absurd. You know me, I love Davey. He's one of my friends in real life, so he's got my cheering. I love this. This is gonna be the most exciting game ever, I think.
And it's still not going to be a long game, so we're allotting like an extra like hour long or something. Like the game's still going to be like only up to 4 hours, but still, just because it's a Champions game doesn't mean we're going to be there all night. We're still going to try and keep like that same Amnesty feel, just with like some like the creme de la creme of players, just like some amazing players. And more of them, but we're just going to it means we've got to cram a lot of stuff into a short period of time. But it's still going to be super fun. It's still going to be the same Amnesty you're all used to watching, just with a couple of additional tweaks. We've got a couple of challenges we've not done before. Yeah. 1 or 2 favorite challenges as well. So I'm so here for it.
That's so great. So let's talk about something, because like I know you had your Black Girl season, Black Girl Magic, which is like the greatest ever for the season. Like, do you have any other like cool themed seasons coming up? I know you have season 12 applications are open right now for a few more days, which is going to be a newbie season, which I want to apply for, but I can't because the end of this month doesn't make sense to me, dude. Like, my job is returning soon. I don't know when though.
So in terms of upcoming seasons, so yes, we've got that season coming up. We've got something that is specifically for alumni. I might be allowing new players into it, but I'm unsure. That's going to be announced later this week. It's not quite a regular season of Amnesty. The announcement for that is going to come later in the week. It'll be on the day of Champions League, if not sooner, but there's something exciting coming up there under the Amnesty umbrella. And in terms of new player season, so I want to do at least one more All Black season.
Yes.
So the reason I made that season a Black Girl Magic season is because a lot of these All Black games, you still tend to find they're very male dominated. And you'll see that it's hard to have a game that is diverse in every single way possible. And I wanted to be able to provide a even smaller subsection of people a safe space to have. And when I saw my application pool, I was like, this is something I have to do, especially because I'm quite fortunate in that sense because Amnesty has a smaller cast. Being able to cast 8 or 9 Black women and non-binary people, I looked and thought, this is easily doable. If I was hosting a game with like 30 people, I'd be thinking, that's going to be much harder. But with this smaller group, I thought, with it being something that it wouldn't even require that much of my energy to realistically do, I thought this is something I absolutely should be doing. It'd be a wasted opportunity not to do it. And it would be almost somewhat mean to not take an opportunity to do something like that. So I looked and thought, this is something I need to do. But I want to do another All Black season because that vibe was so fun. And I want to be able to extend
it was a really fun season to watch. Yeah. Like, did you have to do much recruiting for that season?
So about half of them I recruited, and so about half of them, it was about half and half applied, half I recruited. And of the people I recruited, some of them I reached out to people that were returning Amnesty people and thought, I'd love to have you. And then there are other people I saw that I thought you'd be great. So for example, someone like Jamie was someone I specifically went to and thought, I think you'd be great at this. Or I reached out to Abby as well. And I reached out to people like Chanel as well, because I thought, Chanel, you've played before. Yeah. Come and play again, because Chanel was robbed in her initial season. She was first boot, and I knew she could do better than that. She did, because she made it to the end of Black Girl Magic.
And she almost won it too, yeah. I mean, like,
so close, so close.
Yeah, like I remember, like that last question. I was like, "Damn, that is as close as you really can get." But like, yeah, I'm also like, what are your opinions? Like, because I imagine you don't have to recruit too often for this game because the cast size is so small.
Yeah,
and like it's right. It's in this, like whenever I watch it, I always see there's like 30 people watching, which that's a lot for these type of mini games. Like, yeah.
Yeah, so in terms of recruiting, I don't typically do it. Like sometimes if I think it's a specific person I think would like you'd be perfect, I might approach them. I typically only do that if that's someone that is not within the mini realm, unless there's like a specific reason that I think they appreciate that season, such as the Black Girl Magic season. I think the fact that I was willing to do that lads season kind of shows that I am not always going to recruit people, just because I almost feel I have great trouble rejecting people from games. Now, if another host shows me their cast and like cull 5 people, I'm like, easy. I can call people from other people's games, but when it's my own, I find it a bit harder. So I try and just stick to my application pool as much as possible when it comes to that, just because I genuinely don't appreciate cutting people. And I always do have the numbers in that sense. And then in terms of being audience, I'm just glad that there are people that enjoy watching it. The fact that it is such a short bite, I'm hoping that's why people enjoy watching it. And the fact that there are active people in the chat that are always talking about it and getting involved, thinking this Super Saboteur was. Even during this MarkTalk version, I think you saw as well in the comments, there was a couple of people doing that. And I was like, I love this. The fact that people are getting so involved, that makes me really happy to see. So I'm glad to not only be providing a great experience to the players, but be able to provide a good experience for the viewers while also not compromising the experience of the players.
Oh, 100%. I think as a host, that's part of our job, to make sure that the game is fun, that the players are having a good time, and that the audience is having a good time, and it's a safe environment. And like, I can't get over the fact, like I really do mean it from like bottom of my heart. You're like one of the top 4 game hosts in this community, in my personal opinion. And like they're like there's like a lot of like good hosts, but like I honestly like really think like you, Rob, Ian, those like the top tier where it's like they're gonna bring the fun. It's gonna be a good game. People are gonna have a good experience, and it's a good show.
Yeah, and I really enjoy doing it. So like people like myself and Rob. So I started hosting when I was 15 years old. The games that people host now are better than what I hosted back then. The fact because I'm pretty proud of what I produce is very good, but I think that's just because I've had so much experience doing it. You start seeing the things that work and the things that don't. My games, I wouldn't say my games were good for the first 2 years of hosting. Other people liked them, but I wasn't satisfied with them. So I think through that trial and error and through gaining that experience, that means now, almost 6 years later now, I'm at the point where I'm hosting something I'm very, very comfortable in.
Yeah. So how did you get into the world of orgs?
So I first watched, I got introduced to this television concept when I was 10 years old, when I first watched Big Brother UK. It was the last Big Brother UK before the move to Channel 5, and I watched it. What was this? So after watching a bit more, I started watching things like Big Brother US, and then that got me into Survivor, and then I looked to play Big Brother Online. That got me onto a site called Tengaged, which is So from Tengaged, I got into playing like Skype Minis. And then I got into playing orgs. And then I think from when I entered that org surface, when I got into all of this. And then so when the Sequester world was booming last year, I'd always been reluctant to move over to Sequester for a while because it just wasn't something that I saw myself getting involved in. I ended up getting involved because there was the all British game, and then someone was like, I really want to do this. So I ended up getting involved. And then I think that's how I slowly managed to make that migration there. And then the fact that me and Rob were friends, then we both started hosting over here as well, which it's a very different world hosting over here, very different world.
Well, I mean, imagine, because most of these people came from the mini world, because I know I got introduced to this all because of Sequester.
Yeah,
that's just real. But it's that thing of how different the mini org world is compared to the org world. I've done a couple of orgs and have not had a good experience with those, but compared to minis, I'm like, if I have a bad experience, it's over in 5 hours.
Yeah, because I think the idea of mini orgs over there, they were a lot more like pop-up things. It was like, oh, I'm hosting a mini today, let's go do it.
Yeah.
Whereas here, it's a lot more. It feels a lot more of like a professional environment, which has some pros and some cons. It personally really works for me, but then there's also some times where I'm like, oh, I just want to play a game today. So I think that's also why. So with Amnesty, I'm starting to do some more pop-up seasons as well, because I know for some people they just decide on the day they want to play a game, and then for some people it makes sense to be able to schedule lots in advance.
Yeah, I know that, my first season of Monarch, it was that way, where it was literally, hey, there's going to be one. And I came in 4th and had, the best time ever, because the Monarch is amazing, so.
I had the same situation when I played the Monarch for the first time. I kind of just popped into it.
Yeah, it's great. I mean, if people want to hear me talk about Monarch, I had gone joined it on, last week. I want, because, as you know, I know of you because of your LRG experience. You came to America to play at LRG, and I mean, I'm not going to say how you did on it, but I mean, you did well, without any spoilers. Because I remember, my experience with you was I was watching Survivor Pennsylvania, and I saw you on there, and I'm like, oh, that guy seems cool. And then of course I met you in that Discord game that we played, and I'm like, yes, I loved you in that. And I've always had much love and respect for you. But what do you travel often for LRGs to different continents?
So that was the one LRG I played. So I decided I wanted to do a US trip at the time, just because had that motivation. I'd been doing a few things at a time. I was like in between filming a show at this stage. So I was like, this is the perfect opportunity. I'd just been paid for that. I just got this money in my account. I thought, perfect time to go traveling. So I went to the US. I spent 5 weeks there. I booked my flight into Florida and I booked a flight home from Pittsburgh. And I kind of just didn't have any internal travel booked. So it was kind of like, we're going to make it up as we go along. But
that's the best though, right? I mean, that's the best.
It's so fun just having all of that freedom. So I decided I wanted to play an LRG while I was there, and that was the one game that was like perfectly suited because it was close to where I was going to be traveling anyway. It was like I left like the day after that, so I wasn't there for much long after the game. It was the perfect timing for that. And I went there. I spent 3 days there. So there were some pros and cons to my experience. The fact that I was the only black player there definitely meant I experienced some things. Not from the play. I want to make it clear, none of the players, I had no issues with them, but I had issues with the production team specifically.
Oh, okay.
But I don't want to say that it meant I had a bad experience. But I paid $25 and got to play a 3-day game, and I was there for all 3 days. I mean,
and like what's cool is like it was a camping game too. Like you were like in the woods.
Yeah, it was so much fun, and so I can't. So it's a quick spoiler. So I found an idol. So I can't. So I don't. So before, so it's a padlock now. But you may have noticed when I used to play games in the past, I used to have something else that was hanging here. If you go back to some of the older Amnesty broadcasts before Christmas, you'll see this. So what I used to have hanging here is this padlock, which I got from Secret Santa, was my hidden immunity idol from that game. So I had a positive experience from it. It's somewhere in this room somewhere. But yeah, so I still have things like that, and I had a lot of fun. I love LRGs. I really want to, when this pandemic's over, me and Rob have been discussing this. Well, more so I've been forcing it upon him, but I really want to do a live reality game here in the UK or somewhere in Europe.
I will fucking travel for that. Like my record in Castaway is mostly bad. I can deny that. I mean, I made jury once, but been to every travel council ever of my games. But like, I love Rob so much. I love you so much. Like, I will, and I need to go to Europe. Like, I'm 35 years old. I've never been to Europe.
Europe's great. It's great over here. It's good because you can come, and once you're in one, like, it may be expensive to get here, but once you're here, it is cheap to fly within all different countries. Yeah,
that's awesome. So you're also like a big like reality TV show nerd, like in general. Like I know that that's like one of the things. Sorry, Seth, I'm bringing this up. You know, I mean, I do have to trim this pretty soon for work, so I'll mail it to you, Rob. Just send me your address. Not the whole thing, just shave it down. But like, because I know that you and I have both connected very much on the Circle, because we're both big Circle fans. But like, what other cool like reality shows are you like obsessed with that are
So the shows that I tend to get obsessed with, I love like the really random one-season reality shows. The shows that never get renewed. I get so into those, like the Whodunits, the Glass House. What other shows? Like
the Glass House is so great. Oh my god! And then like,
so good.
Like I watched that in college, and then I met Jeffrey Marks because through Zeke and like all that stuff of like, oh my god, sweet, awesome. And then like I recognized you, and like Jeffrey Marks is like a friend of mine now. But it was that thing of sorry,
such a good show. What else is that? I love Bridal Plasty is one of those shows like it's the funniest show. I'll quickly explain to you. So they have all these brides that come on this show, and they compete in challenges each week. So the bottom 3 are up for elimination. Whoever wins the challenge gets a plastic surgery procedure they want. So they get their procedure. They're then they're immune for the next week, and then they're back doing challenges, which means you've got these people that just had procedures. Like there was this woman that had like, I think she's had like some fat removed from her arms, and then she's running around doing challenges. Or there was one challenge which had to identify different types of food, and this girl has a nose job, and she sat there trying to smell the food. It is the worst thing ever, but it's
so it's like that's like the Swan, right? Like, but not really.
It's kind of like that. At least it's like I feel less bad because it's these people deciding this is what I want. This is what I want to have. So it's just people. These are like, these are the specific things I've decided that I want. So I felt a bit less bad watching it because it's not something being forced upon them or other people deciding whether or not they can have it. So it felt less problematic at least. But it's kind of like, is it bad? Yes. Is it good television? Also, yes. I'd watch another season. The format was great. Love it. Any of these little random shows, Opposite Worlds, I was here for.
What's Opposite World? Is that like a trading place type situation? Like
opposite Worlds, they have like these 2 teams of people. They had like this house that was built, and half of it was like the past, and half of it was like the future.
Oh.
And each episode, teams would compete to decide which team got to live in the future and which team got to live in the past. And then the audience got to pick one player from one. Each team nominated someone to be protected, and then the audience picked one of those people to become the decider. And the decider picked one person from each team to play in a live elimination challenge, and the loser got sent home.
I love this so much. It that reminds me of 70s House to a certain extent. Did you watch that one or hear that one?
I've never Yeah.
It was an MTV reality show where they all like lived in a house in the 70s. And like it was all very 70s. Like everything was like authentic. Like even like food was correctly fatty and stuff like that. Like I don't remember it too well, but I remember it was like you have to live as authentically as possible in the 70s. And it was kind of funny. Like Natasha Leggero was the host. Like it was like weird. It was that weird like mid-aughts like MTV weird crap, you know.
It sounds absolutely wild. Absolutely wild.
Like it's like I'm sure you watched the Joe Schmo show.
Yeah, I watched the first season, but I couldn't. The second one made me uncomfortable.
Second's terrible. The first one's great.
The first one was it.
Like
I loved
it's yeah. And then I just like watched Pirate Master because RJP with the whole like that, and that was.
I watched Pirate. So I was a child when I watched Pirate Master. So I don't know what the experience is going to be like watching Pirate Master as an adult. I'm not sure. I feel like I can appreciate it more because as a child, I was like a 14-year-old, so I was watching and thinking, why are there a bunch of grown adults running around like pirates? This is stupid. But as an adult, I think I can just accept that this show is stupid. You just have to accept that this makes no sense and this is like a bit childish. And then once you get over that, it's interesting at its core. So if you can get over that hurdle, it's actually a really good show.
Like I was telling my girlfriend about it. Like I'm like, yeah, like the prize is $1 million, but it's like split up between like 16 people. And there's a lot of like insane, like mid-aughts tropes, like and guys with dreadlocks in it. Like,
it's a show and a half. It is a show and a half.
Yeah. Let me think. So like, I know you're a guy that always has like big plans, and like one of the things I'm most excited about that's coming up is like you're hosting. Like I guess this when Rob was the guest. I was
in the audience. I know you said it. I was like,
I was like, there's no way it's not Josh because I know you guys are friends and like you wanted a different host for it. But you're gonna be hosting Castaway, which is gonna be so fucking cool. You won one of the hardest seasons of Castaway I've ever seen in my entire life.
That was
I mean, consider like, but like, so you're gonna be hosting Castaway Fiji. Like, can you talk anything about that? Like, what's it gonna be like hosting a show that's not your game?
So I'm super excited about it. So me and Rob, we've hosted things together for years. So I met Rob back in like 2015 when I played an org. He was on production for, and we hosted a couple of games. So he used to have an org series called Big Brother Dirty Dozen. I was on production for 3 seasons of that. We hosted a game at the start of the pandemic based on the British game show The Crystal Maze. We did a lot of games of that. I was there for about half of them. That was a really fun time. I loved hosting that with him. So the dynamic was for a bit. So if I was hosting, he would be screen sharing all of the things, and I'd be speaking, talking through what's happening. And that's kind of how Castaway is going to be. So it's kind of just it's very similar to something we've done in the past. We're just doing it in this Survivor format.
Yeah,
I'm super excited to be doing it. So Rob reached out to me to do this. I don't recall the exact date, but I remember it was a few days before. I was reached out to help host the season of Equilibrium as well. So it was around that kind of time. So we're going back a while now. We're going back at least a month at this stage.
Yeah.
And Rob asked me saying, "I'd love you to come do this," and I was like, "I don't have to," but Rob said, "No, I want you to." And I was like, "I mean, I'll happily come. I love Castaway." This was before I'd been invited back for All Stars at this stage. I do remember that. But yeah, I love Castaway. I'm super excited to host it with Rob. It's going to be a great season, especially with it being an all POC season. I'm so excited to do it. So excited. I'm so happy Rob invited me to come do it. It's going to be great.
It's also a very fun season of Survivor that was used.
I love Survivor Fiji. Survivor Fiji, in my opinion, the most underrated season. I'm not going to say it's the best, but I think it is the most underrated season, in my opinion. People talk down on Fiji so much. People call it like a bottom 10 season. I'm like, excuse me, the cast was brilliant. The twist was questionable, but the cast was brilliant. The characters.
The twist is a better version of the Cook Islands twist.
Yeah. I mean, it was definitely going to be the Cook Islands twist. Like they're trying to say, we all know they were 1,000% about to do that Cook Islands twist. They were absolutely going to do that.
Cook Islands is such a great season, but that twist is so icky. It's just past the diverse season.
No, I really enjoy Fiji. I think it's a great season. And the fact that almost none of these people ever come back is, I think, one of the great things about it. Because you watch it and you don't watch in the context of this person's like this in the future season. Because almost none of them ever come back. Yaman comes back as barely on Micronesia, so their Fiji experience is the only perception you have on them, and I think that makes the season better.
I will say this: that is by far the most underrated season of the first 20. I think I just rewatched Nicaragua, and I think that's a very underrated season too. So
Nicaragua's pretty solid.
Nicaragua is such a hilarious mess in the best way possible. Because they're like, this could be great, and then like Okay, but now power is gone. Okay. Uh, yeah. What are your favorite seasons of like the big reality shows?
So let me think about it. So in terms of Big Brother, I'll do this for a few of the countries. So in Big Brother US, I'd say my favorite is. So it's not my favorite, but I'm a huge Big Brother 9 stan. Huge Big Brother 9 stan. It was my first ever season. I think that's a big note to make here when I make that point. I love Big Brother 6. I really love Big Brother 6. In terms of Big Brother Canada 5, I don't understand how anyone is arguing that Big Brother Canada 5 is not the best Big Brother Canada season. I don't think there's any, like, Big Brother Canada 5 was just the moment. Do you watch Big Brother Canada?
I just got into it this season, so that like, but also keep in mind, I'm not naturally a Big Brother person, but I really like the season so far. I'm obsessed with Victoria.
So Big Brother Canada, have you heard about the double eviction when Neda goes home?
Nobody can tell me that if you want.
Oh my gosh, this is so. Oh my god, so Miss Neda, she gets immunity. She gets on week 1. The public votes her to have immunity until jury. Okay. Her immunity ends in the middle of a double eviction night. So they do the first eviction, then they tell production. By the way, it's time jury started. Your immunity's over. She gets evicted the same episode. Not only evicted, she gets backdoored that episode.
No.
And the screams that audience gives out. Oh, it is a moment. It is a moment. So big. I'm trying to think. Big Brother UK, old school Big Brother UK was everything. Big Brother UK 5, Big Brother UK 6, Big Brother UK 7, Celebrity Big Brother 3, 4. Celebrity Big Brother 4 is one of my favorite seasons of reality television ever. The cast was brilliant. The first task was brilliant. They brought in a girl called Chantel, and they made her pretend to be a celebrity. So she was a normal person. They gave her a fake celebrity identity, and she was told, you have to convince the other people you're this person. If you can't, you're going home. And the best part of it was that they made her perform her hit single of this fake band. So they called her to the DR. They handed her these words. They gave her 2 hours to learn the words to these songs. They told her, at this week's shopping task, you're going to have to perform your song. Oh, it's Big Brother UK producers are mean, and I love them for it.
Oh my god! Was she able to sing? Was she a singer or like?
This girl could not sing. She could not learn the words. She had to sing with the paper in front of her. You could see like Jodie Marsh and Pete Burns looking at her, just unimpressed. Brilliant television. Big Brother UK. Channel 4 knew what they were doing. They knew what they were doing.
What are your big Survivor seasons?
So what seasons of Survivor do I read? I love Survivor Gabon. Survivor Gabon, it's like a branch deal. None of these people are.
Yeah, exactly.
I saw a tweet the other day that said, Survivor Gabon is so good because on any other season, all of these people could have been the first boot. And that's like, I think that's, half of these people would have gone home, but like, so many, and especially if you look at the Gabon returnees, Sugar and Randy, who both went first home on their tribe and heroes versus villains. Yeah. But I read that and thought, I've never seen anything truer about this show ever.
That's so true.
I love Survivor Cagayan for obvious reasons. I mean, the ending question.
I have a friend that's just got into Survivor during the pandemic, and she's like, I'm going to make a podcast where I watch Cagayan for the first time. I'm like, I'm here for this because I've seen season 7 times. Like,
I love Cagayan.
Okay, here's an interesting question because I've seen every one of the seasons of the show, even the ones that make me rip my face off. What's your favorite season of The Circle?
Oh, so I'm a huge believer that the UK version is superior. So the Brazilian and French version is hard for me to speak on because I didn't watch those because they're not on UK Netflix. But I've watched the US one.
The Brazilian one is bad. Like it's, yeah, it's offensive actually. It's downright offensive because, but yeah.
So I don't love the US. I love the US one. I love both of the first 2 UK seasons, but I love them for different reasons. Yes. So in the first UK one, the fact that it was so organic was really great. But I think the second one the second one's probably my favorite, just because the cast are all there to play. The cast are all interesting. The people that aren't interesting, they get voted straight out. So it's not a problem. Anyone boring does not get to stay that season.
That's true about the second one. You're right about that. Yeah.
If you're dull, bye. The twists were mostly just right. There was a couple of questionable things. They introduced face-to-face blocking. Face-to-face blocking. Love face-to-face blocking. I wish every single blocking was a face-to-face blocking because the drama that comes from it. When you tell someone, oh, you want to block that person? You've got to enter that flat and tell them to their face, you're going to meet them for the first time, and you have to tell them, by the way, you are going home. Oh, it's so brilliant. What I want to see more of, I want to see more of the catfishes having to do face-to-face blocking. Imagine someone's going to have to find out, by the way, you've been lying to me this whole time, and I'm now sending you home. Love it. I love it. The circle is best. I'm here for it.
I will never forget when I was getting into the circle, because I watched the 3 seasons that were accessible to me in like less than 3 weeks, like when it first came to America. But like I watched the UK season 1 like almost in like a day straight. And my roommate was like Freddie, like my roommate was able to hear Freddie yelling from his room because Freddie is the loudest person that's ever existed. And he was like, what the hell's happening? He comes in and it was the episode where Freddie's like fully naked. Like, and I'm just like, it's a weird reality show. He's like, what is this? And I'm like, and I explain, he's like, okay, actually, it does sound exciting. Oh my god, I can talk to you all day, dude, because you make me. I fucking love it. I love who you are. I love what you're about. I always like to ask this question recently for like the hosts I have on. Like, what mini games do you like? Well, like, what mini games would you recommend or whatever? You know, like, what mini games excite you?
So in terms of minis, there are certain things I like within games. So Rob's Castaway is probably one of my favorites because it hits all the marks of things that I like. So in terms of a game, I like a game that fills their time well. A game can be an hour, a game can be 10 hours for like it. As long as you're filling the time well, I'm okay with that. And I feel like Castaway does that. And I really trust Rob as a host. So Castaway is something I'm big on. Equilibrium is something I enjoy as well. As I've been like, I'm not involved with Equilibrium anymore, but I was closely involved in Equilibrium for a few seasons. I did a few seasons in Enlightenment. That's something I get very into. So those games are things that I'm big on. In terms of myself as a player, the games I like to play games that have I like the very consistent rules games. I know some people like a lot of twists. I typically love going into, that's why I love Castaway. I love going to a game knowing these are the rules, this is how we're playing, the end. Because when cute little twists pop up, I'm sometimes like, excuse me? Huh?
Yeah, yeah. That's the reason why Adventure Game is the simplest game in the world. It's like, there's a story, you'll be safe or you won't be with whatever response you give. There's no advantages.
That's the thing. I hate playing with advantages, especially Survivor I can get behind. I remember when I used to play minis, when I used to play Big Brother games, and if I knew a host was the type of host to throw a Diamond Power Veto into the game, I was like, okay, I'm not playing. I like being able to just play straight games. Kind of why. So I don't love the public vote aspect of banishment. This is why I kind of enjoy banishment, because banishment is very consistent. Its rules. Yeah. The rules are never going to change. It's why I especially love 3x banishment, because you don't have to worry about the audience as much, because you can save yourself with a good social game.
Yeah.
In terms of playing banishment again, if another 3x season comes up at a good time for me to play, I'll be there.
That's good to know. I mean, they always happen. It's like, as I told you beforehand, like, I'm pretty much done as playing banishment. I'm always going to be helping and commentating because I fucking love it. It's great. One more
thing in terms of minis. Let me quickly. So the things that I would love to see more of, and so anyone watching, if you're wanting a mini that people can get really into, team games. We need more team games, especially because we have a lot of games that's very individual focused. We don't have a lot of games in which are very big team orientated. Like we have Castaway. I personally, it doesn't suit my style of gameplay very well, but the team mechanic I think is something that's very interesting to be able to come together as a group of people. So anything team based is what I'd really, really love to see.
I would say to a certain extent, High Rise is that way too.
So I enjoy playing High Rise. So the reason I wouldn't categorize it in the team area, because you're not as actively playing in the other team. I like the group aspect of it, and I enjoy High Rise as a game. I would especially love to see, like, I like Castaway because if you really feel like you are a team of people. Yeah. I really love that dynamic. I think that dynamic can get super interesting. And there are elements of that exist in High Rise as well, because you're only speaking to your team, and then when you merge, so you have like that. When it merges, it's like you've been in teams that whole time, if that makes sense. Yeah, like the latter half of it, that team aspect kind of carries into that.
And it was the only time you and I ever got a fight in the game.
Listen, I was not fighting. Oh no, I was fighting. I was just calling you.
You were mad at me in game, and I'm like, I understand that. I respect that. That was the best move for me. It was a hair early. I'm not gonna deny that. But you know, I went out, then you went out shortly after. I
got that.
That's right. Never mind. I came in sixth. So like, I was.
That's when I made the deal with KP that saved me that round, because we spent that round before in that little what's the room called? Why can't I think of the name of the room? Basement. We spent time in the basement together and we managed to establish something. That was a fun game.
That was like one of my favorite games I've ever played, just because of like between me and just DeRoche, like going for like 30 minutes on a challenge and all that stuff. But that was great.
Lana, if you're watching, next time can you rig Battleship for me instead of letting me go home? You could have easily just snuck a little key into that space that I chose. Be like, yeah, sure, Joshua. You could have done that. You could have done that for me. I've got out with Final Four in too many games now, too many times.
I mean, I will say this, because I did watch all of Injury, like first hour of it. I watched live, and then I thought you were great in it, and I was also really happy that I saw that you played with my dear friend MJC very well. So, but also Lana is watching, and she's got you. Wrapping up, is there anything else you want to bring up about Amnesty or anything before we start doing plugs and stuff?
So Champions League, I hope you're watching. So I'm going to be telling the cast, I'm going to be DMing the cast now, so if any of the cast are watching, just so you know, get prepared with the game The Resistance, because The Resistance is going to be a challenge in the upcoming season. So for once, I am telling all the cast what one of the upcoming challenges so they can prepare for that. So that's going to be coming up. So Amnesty 12 is going to be happening later this month, and stay tuned for an announcement in the week, because there's an exciting new thing coming up under the Amnesty umbrella, which I'm super excited for. I'm excited to branch out into other types of games. It's going to be so fun.
I can't wait, because I'm going to apply if I have time for it. But yeah, you guys can follow Amnesty at Amnesty Series on Twitter. Amnesty Champions League is going to be on YouTube on March 13th at 12 Eastern Standard Time.
Champions League's at 2.
I'm sorry about that. But watch it, because Josh hosts one of the most fun games, and this cast is absurdly good. I can't wait to watch them play. And then we have the new player season on March 27th at 12 Eastern Standard Time. Follow Josh also at Josh Felix FLX on Twitter. Also, I can't wait to see you host Castle Fiji later this month. It's gonna be fucking incredible. I'm so excited. For this show coming up, we got on Monday. Well, no, sorry, I gotta do this first. Friday is our Brant Seal Day. Josh, would you like to be part of my Brant Seal this week?
I mean, imagine if I sat here and said no. Imagine if I sat here and said no. The drama.
Yeah, it would be sad. I mean, I would be sad because I am a fan of you, man. Yeah, awesome. And then Monday we have our last of this series where we have High Rise, which I'm very excited. Lana and her Mix production team are going to be here, and that game is a game I really want to play again because I know I can go farther, which is pretty impressive because I went on the double elimination. So whatever. And then Wednesday is our series finale for this. That is insane to me. After 90-ish episodes, I will probably be getting drunk on camera and have hopefully a lot of guests coming on, pop in and say hi. Maybe other surprises. I don't know. We're figuring that out still. But Josh, thank you so much for being here. This meant a lot to me.
Thank you for having me.
Always great talking to you, my dude. And I will see you guys on